So, what does a single day in India really look like? You've got high stakes debates in parliament, you've got critical decisions shaking up the financial markets, and you have people taking to the streets. Today, we're going to piece together a snapshot of a nation that's always in motion. Let's dive in. You might be wondering, how on earth do you even begin to understand a country of 1.4 billion people in just one day? Well, you look at where the power is, you look at how security is being handled, and you look at how the politics of it all plays out. To really answer what's happening in India today, we're going to track the key events as they unfold, and we're starting right in the heart of its democracy.
All right, first up, we're heading straight into the political battlefield. This is where the big decisions that shape the entire nation are being hammered out, debated, and decided, not just at the national level, but in the states too. So right here, you're seeing governance in action on two completely different tracks, happening at the exact same time. Over in New Delhi, the national parliament is in the thick of its winter session, which is always an intense period for passing new laws. Meanwhile, 1,000 kilometers away, the state assembly in Bihar is also on day 3 of its session, but with a totally different focus. They're about to hear the new government's agenda under a brand new speaker.
Now, zooming in on the national level, the opposition, led by Mallikarjun Kharge, is feeling pretty confident. See, they just managed to force the government to back down on a key issue, so their morale is high. And they're using that momentum to really push for debates on some critical topics. We're talking pollution, terrorism, and national security. This isn't just political theater. It's a real strategic push to try and steer the conversation.
And hey, the action isn't just happening inside the legislative halls. Administrative moves are being made all across the country. In Chhattisgarh, the chief minister is focused on things like infrastructure and law and order. But in Rajasthan, a recent meeting between the chief minister and the prime minister has set off a whole storm of speculation about a big cabinet reshuffle. And that kind of political uncertainty, it often creates economic ripples, which, believe it or not, brings us right to our next topic.
Okay, so let's pivot from the fiery debates of politics and talk about the economy. We're going to look at the one institution that's responsible for setting the entire country's financial rhythm.
And that leads us to the big economic question on everyone's mind today. All eyes are on the Reserve Bank of India. A really important meeting has just kicked off there that could directly impact the wallets of millions and millions of people.
The key term you need to know here is the repo rate. Now, in simple terms, it's just the interest rate the main bank, the RBI, charges all the other commercial banks. So why should you care? Because that rate has a direct knock-on effect on the interest you pay for pretty much everything: your home loan, your car loan, even business loans. A tiny change here can create huge waves across the whole economy.
So here's how this is all going to play out. The Monetary Policy Committee is starting its meeting today. They'll deliberate, they'll argue, they'll look at all the data, and then on December 5th, the meeting wraps up and a decision is made. Right after that, the governor, Sanjay Malhotra, will step up and announce the result to the whole country. So what's the buzz? What are the experts thinking? Well, the CARE Ratings Agency, a big name in this space, is actually predicting a cut. They think the RBI might just lower that key repo rate by 25 basis points, maybe to give the economy a little boost. And this is the number everyone is watching: 25. It sounds so small, right? 25 basis points. But make no mistake, that one little number could signal a massive shift in the country's economic direction. It could potentially make borrowing money cheaper for everyone, from big corporations to you and me. Okay, so while all that economic deliberation is happening, you've got the country's security and justice systems running at full tilt. They never stop. Let's take a look at what's going on there. On the security side of things, it is all go. The Indian Air Force has just kicked off a huge military exercise down in the southern region, right near the border with Pakistan. An official notice to air missions has been sent out, basically clearing the skies for fighter jets and advanced surveillance planes. It's all about boosting readiness, and it's running right through December 6th. And now for a really sharp contrast. We're going from massive military operations in the sky to a long, drawn-out legal battle unfolding inside the country's own justice system. This phrase, jailed for 5 years, it really sets the stage for a critical court hearing happening today. So today, the Supreme Court is hearing the bail pleas for 3 individuals: Sharjeel Imam, Umar Khalid, and Gulfarsha Fatima. They've all been in jail for 5 years now in connection with the Delhi riots. The defense is pushing back hard. For example, Sharjeel Imam's lawyer is strongly objecting to his client being called an intellectual terrorist.
while Umar Khalid's defense is arguing that he wasn't even in the city when the violence broke out.
And all of this brings us to our final piece of the puzzle for today, the people's verdict. Now we're going to see how citizens themselves are making their voices heard, both by casting a vote and by taking to the streets.
Just take a look at the results from Delhi's recent municipal bypolls. It tells such a fascinating story about who's showing up to vote. In the Chandni Mahal area, turnout was almost 56%. That's pretty high. But then you look at a more affluent neighborhood, Greater Kailash, and it was less than half that. It's a really stark picture of how much civic engagement can differ from one part of a city to another. But casting a ballot isn't the only way people express their will. Sometimes the venue for the public's verdict moves from the ballot box directly onto the streets. And that's exactly what's happening over in Gujarat with this massive People's Anger March. It's a huge 2-month-long protest against what the organizers are calling a rise in crime, drug problems, and illegal liquor. And it's gaining a lot of national attention today because a senior Congress leader, Sachin Pilot, is actually joining the march to help amplify these local issues and connect with people on the ground. So what does it all add up to? Parliamentary clashes, economic forecasts, military drills, legal battles, and street protests. It's easy to see these as just separate headlines, right? But they're not. They're all threads in a single, incredibly complex story being written in real time. And when you weave them all together, they start to paint a picture of what India's tomorrow might just look like.